Back to basics. Remember a time before we had all this technology when you just didn't know some things and you felt better. Now, flooded by information from here to Timbuktu. And the crazy part is, with all the information, a lot of misinformation. When something is happening, videos can be picked from years and years and tailor-made to fit a current situation, but that's not the same. And unless you are keen enough to, dig through the archives, then you realize this information speaks about something separate from this. But here we are in the world of views, in the world where anything goes. And there was a time that I remember we used to have, when it's television, we had there's one we used to call Great Wall, I believe. It was just black and white. The color of the television on the side, it was red, white, red, black, or red. Yeah, red, black, I think. And you really struggle with the what is satellites. I'm forgetting the thing, there's this thing that we used to hold so that you could be able to get a channel. And those days were interesting. The struggle was real. And that was even from my home. That was from a neighbor's house. First time we had one, well, there we were. And the days of Looney Tunes, Tasmanian Devil, Bugs Bunny, What's Up Doc and Team, and Cartoon Network, whether it was Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dexter and Didi, and there were many. Whether it was the Jetsons family, which was giving us a precursor of the world that would be with their technology in that animation, but here we are. What they were showing us, well, here we are. And through a lot of what we watched, sadly, most of it was purely predictive programming of a world that would be. And many people say nowadays things were not there. They are there. You're talking about trans, you have to just go check him in Powerpuff Girls, him, the character, trans. So from the context of the male, I don't know how to explain that. Man, woman, yeah, that one. And so most of the things we've watched literally were predictive programming. Whether it's the rise of machines, we're watching Terminator, whether you are watching iRobot, most of the things were there. And the numbing of people whereby you don't need to do this will bring everything. The idea of smart cities also there. Whether you watched an animation, a music video, it is still there. And here we are. Technology is good, it's amazing. Used well, better. However, if we are not careful and cautious, we start to lose who we are as people. Yes, humanity has its flaws, facts. We have people who you look back and think, really, really, what's all this about? We have people who have become sadists to a point whereby you even wonder where we are going, whether you're talking about this group called the 764 and many other extremist type of groups that are cropping up within the cyberspace. The thing is, technology is good if used well. And at the same time, it can also have its own challenges, because to what extent do you then double down and control things? Whether it's the AI products that we have, whereby now many regulations are being suppressed because it's a competitive market, a lot of data and third party, so here we are. By the end of the day, that doesn't mean that we lose who we are as people. I'm still old school when it comes to direction. I still prefer to ask a person direction rather than the technology. I know, sounds crazy, but I think I like that part, because I remember there's a time we were using Google Map, and it has happened more than once or twice, and we ended up in the wrong direction. I remember telling the other person in the cab, like, we could just ask someone, and they're like, no, we need to use this. Eventually, we ended up in someone's house. Thank God we were a mix. So it wasn't like guys alone, because if it was guys alone, we'd be finished. It was a private home, so we'd have been pew-pewed out of this world. And the thing is, and I remember telling the person, you could just have asked the direction and pretty much you could have gotten the idea. The thing is, as much as we embrace technology, let's not lose our humanity, because we're pretty much going into a soulless type of world whereby people's pain has become views, for money, for generation of very bad and sad type of comments where people's pain, where people are becoming so cold-hearted until you are thinking, wow, how did you get there? Well, we got there. We are there. Sadly, we are getting worse at it. But there's still hope for those who believe in hope. Because as much as we have all that we have, back to basics for me is simple. I still want to I cook for myself. I'm not planning to have a robot tell me what do I want. No, I cook. If you go to a hotel, I want to be served by a person, not by a machine. Now, I understand in some countries the machine has been totally embraced. But again, I still like the old school style. And I may be different. Maybe it's because of being a 90s kid. Maybe that's the reason. But again, I still like that old school vibe because we are losing so much. Now we are more into consumerism, less into production. When I mean production, it doesn't have to basically mean you're farming or, yeah, it's basically producing anything, whether you're producing content, whether you are producing a product or services, whatever it is you're producing. Because we become more of consumerism from the context of once you subscribe to something, there's this you have to this promo code for this, for this, for this, for that. And we end up literally losing touch. When you sit and talk to someone, for example, who's within the taxi industry, specifically within the digital space type, we're talking the Uber, the Bolt and everything. When you have just normal, simple conversations, you do see how some of them are going through pretty messy situations with people, how they are treated as if they are supposed to be wonder something. If you sit with the way stuff, you'll hear how they'll give you their reception of how a customer will want them to do something, and it's as if they can move at some crazy speed. If you speak to someone within the medical industry field, they'll tell you, well, people from the reception down to the nurse, the doctor, they'll tell you, I don't know what's going on, but people pretty much are scary. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't lose humanity based on what we have. Yes, the technology is good. Yes, it makes things easier. Yes, it makes things faster. Yes, it's quite convenient. But that doesn't mean that at the end of the day, you lose the fact that that other person is a human being. And in a space where loneliness has sadly also reached to a point it's been commercialized, whether it is looking for the AI boyfriend or girlfriend relationship type, whereby you keep forgetting that the technology, when you get into this cyber type of relationship with these technologies, all your emotions and information is going back to a company. That company has investors. That investor will look at the data and they will send to third parties what's for third parties, and half for them what is for them to reproduce more products for you. But remember, you're talking to a technology that has been coded. Whether some of this technology choose to be conscious, scary, but yeah, here we are. But at the end of the day, let it make us not lose who we are. So at the end of the day, I come from the point of don't forget who you are as a person based on what we have. This technology we have can help us unite, meet, get to know, build communities, physical and digital, and build spaces. That's the beautiful thing. The dark side is how you choose to use it and what your contribution is. Whether you contribute to build or to destroy, again, is a personal choice. Some people are just too sadist to want to ever see happiness. But again, such is life. Not everybody will understand. Even someone will argue with me on this. I'm like, who are you to tell me? I'm like, I'm nobody. I'm just a guy with a phone, just telling you, well, there is life beyond technology. Because what happens when you wake up one day, electricity is gone, that internet has been shut down, what do you become? Zombies? Why have you seen this before? Wait, predictive programming, where did you see this before? You watched too many of this stuff. And it's important to remember there is a life beyond all this technology. There's what we call private life. There's what you call life. There's nature, actual trees, actual, not tailor-made, I don't know, fictional, I don't know. There is life. There are birds, there are cats, there are dogs, there are cows, there are goats. Real. So as we embrace technology, let's not forget that there's a life beyond the technology. There's a life when your phone or whatever it is stops charging. Don't forget who you are based on what you want to be in terms of the tech space. Love yourself enough to know, I love this, but there's a life beyond this, a real life that really exists. It existed, it will exist, despite where we are as the world. At the end of the day, it's all a choice. All the best.